Welcome to my channel. The storm outside clawed at the fuselage, thunder rolling like distant artillery, lightning illuminated faces pale with fear, and the aircraft groaned as if it might be torn apart. Inside the cabin, the captain's voice cut through the intercom, calm, but carrying an edge no one had ever heard before. Row 14, passenger, call sign, Valkyrie. The words froze the cabin. Passengers exchanged bewildered looks. Call sign? Who was he talking to? Why summon one ordinary traveler as if she were some hidden weapon? The turbulence rattled drinks and hearts alike, but the silence that followed was louder than the storm. Something was about to happen, something legendary. She had been invisible until then, just another face among the tired and restless. A woman in a plain jacket, hair tied back, a paperback resting in her lap. No one noticed her boarding. No one noticed her now. Row 14, seat B. Her eyes had been on the clouds outside, calm where others twitched with nerves. To the man beside her, she was simply another traveler on another flight. But to the captain, she was something else entirely. She wasn't just row 14. She was once a name whispered in hangars at midnight, etched into briefing room silence before impossible missions. She had vanished years ago. Some thought she had walked away. Others believed she was gone forever. But she was here, now, quiet, unassuming, a ghost no one expected to see again. The storm wasn't the real threat. Radar screens crackled with distortion, communications cut to static. Then a shadow, moving fast, too close, too deliberate to be chance. A hostile drone swarm had slipped into civilian airspace, their signals scrambled, their intent unmistakable. Panic surged through the crew as red alerts bled across their instruments. 30,000 feet in the air, with nowhere to run and no way to fight. The captain's knuckles whitened on the controls, but his voice held steady. He knew the odds. He also knew his only chance. His eyes flicked back, scanning the cabin through memory more than sight. He whispered through the intercom once more, as if calling a spirit. Valkyrie, I need you. Heads turned toward row 14. Passengers stared at her like she was the wrong answer to a riddle. A woman, a book, a faint smile that didn't belong in a storm like this. Why would the captain call for her? Why speak her name as if it meant salvation? Then slowly she rose. The seatbelt clicked free. The paperback closed. Every movement carried the weight of certainty, of someone who had walked into storms before and never flinched. Even before she spoke, the cabin shifted. Terror eased, replaced with something else, an unspoken trust. She didn't need to explain. Her presence was enough. In flashes, the storm outside was mirrored in her eyes. The roar of turbines, the shimmer of a visor, her hands steady on a stick of an F-22 Raptor. Ghosts of memory flickered across her, missions flown against odds that would break ordinary pilots. She didn't brag, she didn't boast. She simply moved forward, past stunned passengers, toward the cockpit. The captain's relief was subtle but real. You're still here, he murmured. I never left, she replied, voice as quiet as thunder rolling over mountains. The cockpit was chaos. Warning lights screamed. Instruments blinked with dying signals. Storm clouds slammed against the windows as if trying to pry the aircraft from the sky. The crew had been trained for emergencies, but not for this, not for war. Inside a storm, she slid into the right seat as if it had always been hers. Her hands flew across switches and screens. Her voice snapped commands sharp and clean. Reroute power through auxiliary. Cut bleed air to stabilize pitch. Manual override. Now! The captain obeyed. The crew obeyed. And for the first time since the crisis began, the aircraft obeyed. Radar blinked alive again, just enough to reveal the swarm. Dozens of drones, circling like vultures, waiting for weakness. She studied them in a heartbeat, her mind mapping patterns invisible to the rest. Her breathing slowed, her focus sharpened. The Valkyrie had returned. She called for maneuvers no airline manual ever dreamed of, banking into turbulence to shake pursuit, dropping altitude through storm cells where no sane pilot dared to fly. Her commands carved survival out of chaos, each movement a dance between disaster and deliverance. To the passengers, it felt like being hurled through hell, but to her, it was ballet at altitude, an art she had mastered in steel and fire. The cockpit roared with alarms, but her voice cut through them like a blade. Hold steady. They're blind in the storm. One opening. 30 seconds. Lightning split the sky, revealing the swarm's formation. She saw the gap, invisible to anyone else. She guided the aircraft straight through it, threading metal and souls through a needle's eye at 30,000 feet. And then silence. The drones were gone. The storm eased. The cabin, still shaking, exhaled as one. Someone whispered, "Who is she?" The captain didn't look up from the controls. He only spoke softly, reverently. Valkyrie. The name rippled through the cabin. Eyes widened. Murmurs spread. They realized they hadn't just been saved. They had witnessed a ghost of the Air Force, an ace pilot whose name carried weight even in rooms filled with legends. Once, she had soared above war zones in an F-22, carving myths out of contrails. Her call sign was earned in fire. Valkyrie, the chooser of the slain, the one who never lost a wingman, missions others called suicide she returned from, stories that blurred into myth she lived, and then one day she vanished. No farewell, no ceremony, just gone. Rumors filled the void. Some swore she was dead. Others whispered she had walked away, tired of war. But the truth was stranger. She had been here all along, blending into crowds, carrying her legend quietly, until tonight, when destiny called her name in the storm. The landing gear touched down with a sigh. Tires met tarmac. The plane rolled to safety. Applause erupted, cheers flooding the cabin. But she simply returned to row 14, slipped back into her seat, opened her book, as if nothing had happened. No arrogance, no explanation, just a ghost saving lives and then vanishing back into anonymity. Because that's the truth about legends. They don't walk among us wearing medals or shouting their names. They sit quietly, unnoticed, until the world needs them again. And when that call comes, they rise, not for recognition, but because that's who they are. Her call sign wasn't just a name. It was a reminder. Courage never fades. Legends never die. They walk among us, waiting for the storm that needs them most. And on that night, in the middle of a storm, the passengers of Flight 22-7 learned that row 14 wasn't just a seat. It was the place where a ghost of the skies revealed herself once more. Her name was Valkyrie, and legends like her never truly disappear. So if this story gave you chills, if it made you wonder who might be sitting quietly beside you, subscribe, because there are more untold legends out there waiting in silence until destiny whispers their call sign.